What's going on, my people? Listen, we're back in effect. It's always in effect, man, with us. This is the FMF podcast.
Man, yo. You got a topic?
Yes. No, I ain't forget. It's just I'm ready. Like this about to be dope. It's about to be deep. So, should men be vulnerable in a relationship?
Nope.
Let's go.
Go ahead and get started, A.
So it's a yeah and a no when it comes to being vulnerable, man. You can't be 100% vulnerable, man.
Alright.
And we're passionate about it. We got this topic from some network, man. We might get them at the bottom. Appreciate it. We might, you never know, but
it's all love. Also,
it's all love.
Yeah.
So I had brought this up because we do talk about relationships a lot because. I think we all have the same perspective when it comes to relationships, that in the community, if you don't have community, there ain't no community without communication. Yeah. And we can't build our community without family. So you gotta have a relationship and a wife to build communities, of course. So we have to.
We do need that.
Everything always narrows down to having a relationship, with the other sex. So being vulnerable, nah. Not as a man, because it stems down to what a man is supposed to be. He's supposed to be the head. He's supposed to be the leader. Of course, we feel this way. And all the pressure. When you be too vulnerable with a young lady, a woman, from a man's perspective, you're putting too much pressure on her. Meaning that if you put too much negativity or you put too much vulnerability into a woman, that means that sometimes they feel like you're not stable. So it's not that you can't let them know that you have some feelings. Of course, we got feelings and let them know that. But when it comes to if you're bringing too many problems to a woman, that makes it seem like you can't handle your own stuff. So how can I? You can take care of me.
That's it, bro.
So you can't be too vulnerable. Not saying you can't, talk a little bit and have feelings, something like that. So if I put like a percentage on it, I told the guys before we get started, I give it about 20% of the vulnerability. Leave the 80%, don't tell them everything.
So what I was telling them, right? I was saying you could be vulnerable, but it's about how you doing it.
Ooh.
Like if you.
What you mean?
So if you tell like, I'm dealing with some stuff right now, man. Work been like hectic and everything like that, but I'm gonna work my way through it. It's just like a conversational piece. Right. To me, that's like, you being vulnerable. Let them know like, work is hectic, you a little stressed out. But I think how you cap it off and how you handle it is by saying, you know what, I'm gonna work through this. Thank you for having my back. You know what I'm saying? Being here to support me.
Right.
When you come in and be like, oh baby, like they're stressing me out at work. I don't know what I'm gonna do. Like, let me lay on you. That's what I mean by like how you do it. Like, and just to tell y'all, man, like, back in the day, I won't doing it how I was supposed to do it. You know what I'm saying? We all grow and learn, and I learned from my mistakes about being emotional, like being emotional when it came to my vulnerability. Right. And I think that's the part where, like you said, it feels like to the women like you can't handle your own stuff.
How you gonna handle me?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like how you? I can't handle my burdens and your burdens at the same time.
That's too much pressure on them, man.
So
too much.
It's about how you do it, and then also my rule of thumb is anything you don't want out, don't say it. You know what I'm saying? Okay. Like, and that go even with your woman, your friends, all of that type of stuff. Because at the end of the day, you can't control what other people do. So if it's something that's really personal, that's why we talked about therapy. Therapy is confidential. Everything that you say there is not supposed to get out. When it comes to the real world and out here, you never know what people gonna do. So I think the other rule that I go by is like, whatever you don't want out, you process through yourself or you go to therapy for it. But otherwise, if you don't mind it being out, or you don't mind, dealing with it, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Then it's fair game. But if you don't want it out, you can never be too sure, man.
Right,
Process it through yourself or use therapy to try to process that.
And I love this because like it's always three perspectives. Now for me, what I see being vulnerable, I think you have to be willing to be vulnerable. And being vulnerable, guys, is simply just being open with your woman. Being vulnerable in a relationship is simply just being open with your woman. How you go about it is on you, is on y'all. Both of y'all stating facts. You do want to have a balance towards it because you don't want to come off as weak. You don't want to seem like you can't handle yourself. You don't want to seem like you can't handle the problems that's going out there. But just being vulnerable, being open, you're allowing your woman to come into your space because y'all relationship, y'all are together. All right, and she can give you insight or be able to nurture you through certain things. Like how does she supposed to support you? Right? You gotta let her know that. You gotta give her that guidance on like what type of support you need. And if it's always guesswork on her end, she'll never know. Like for me, my focus, when I'm like aggressively focused, like not breaking, like nothing can come in, I also seem like I'm upset, right? So I had to like break it down, like that's not it. Like when it comes to being vulnerable, it goes to the effective communication piece.
Facts.
Like how can you effectively communicate what you may be feeling, what you may be going through, what stresses and troubles that might be going on, either inside or outside the household, with her, with anything else that might be coming up, that you might need to express beforehand, because sometimes things can get crazy. Like if you keep everything in, say for instance you don't do the therapy, you don't talk to your woman, you don't talk to your fellas, you keep everything in, everything just piles up, and at some point you'll implode. And that's when we implode, guys. When we implode, it's too much, we lash out with anger. That's usually our first our resort, is we lash out with anger. So all of this goes back to the effective communication. Definitely should be vulnerable with your woman, but it is a balance, and the way you do it, trust and believe.
When you find that thin line between something that you should go ahead and talk to her about, or when you need to keep it in, because I believe in that quote that when it comes to being vulnerable, some of the stuff is going to be stressful. So I believe in the quote as in shoulders are meant. That's why we have broad shoulders. Shoulders are meant for stress. Yeah, hips are not meant for stress.
Yeah.
So how you know it's a thin line between if it's something that you need to be vulnerable, that you want to talk about, but you know that you don't need to go and disclose this because they ain't meant to handle that type of stress, man.
It depends on the situation. For me, some things is like, like I know that, and plus knowing your partner, how they'll normally react to a certain type of situation, whether or not you need to talk about it or you just need to handle it, right?
Yeah.
Like some things is like yo, that's crazy.
Man up.
You know what I mean? Like, yeah, man up.
Yeah, man.
That's crazy. That's something, okay, but I gotta handle it. Check out the video that me and AJ did on AIM on being aggressive.
Yeah.
Because you're gonna have to get aggressive towards a whole lot of stuff. Because you're gonna have to step up. You're gonna have to man up and handle some things. So everything don't need to be discussed.
Right.
So when it comes to finding that thin line, you gotta know who you're dealing with. Know how they'll normally react to a certain situation. If it's a new situation, you might have to set the tone.
Okay.
Like set the tone for the conversation. Like listen, like it builds anxiety when you just we need to talk. You know what I mean?
It
is good, yo. It never.
That's the worst thing to hear from a woman. We need to talk.
We need to talk.
We need to talk.
You know it's not good.
Oh, here we go. first reaction, oh, here we go.
Right.
I ain't trying to go through this mess, man.
So you get ahead of that. You get in control of that. Like, listen, baby, I just want to holler at you real quick about something. Yeah. It ain't nothing too big. It's just something that, is on my mind. She's like, all right, cool, bet. And like, you set a time for it and everything. Like I said, like we have meetings in my relationship, in my marriage. We have meetings.
I know, what'd you call it? You said something meeting. You said
money,
call
we have money.
Yeah, money. There you go. Yeah, the money meetings. But it goes.
Meetings.
Y'all probably just don't talk about that. Y'all probably throw in a lot of different stuff.
Yeah, because it's like once you're putting your money towards and why, it always goes back to the person, what's happening, and we do have different meetings for different stuff. You know what I mean? So, but we got the money meetings, but we also. This is a structure. I want to create an open space for us to be able to talk, and I'll preface the conversation. If it's gonna be a heavy topic, if it's something that I'm really vulnerable about, I want to make sure there's a judgment-free zone. I might want to ask her a few questions that doesn't pertain to me towards the subject, just to see where your mind is at about it before I just jump in and let you know all of what I'm dealing with, what it is.
Yeah, so let's talk about the cap. Let's talk about some cap that you may hear when it comes to women, man. When they be like, oh, I like when a man is vulnerable to me and he shows his emotions.
They don't know.
Is that cap? Is that cap?
I think it's showing the emotion part, cap.
That's cap.
But I do think they want somebody to be vulnerable.
They want to
because I think with the vulnerable.
You think they respect you? Think that you that vulnerable, man?
Absolutely.
Yeah, because I think it go back to how you do it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
If you go in being soft about it and being all mushy and things like that, when it's not some. Let me rephrase that.
Go ahead.
When it doesn't seem like the situation called for mushiness. Like if your mom or something died, it's understandable to be emotional.
That's a difference. Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
That's one of the number one things. Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like it's understandable to be emotional and when you being vulnerable about that.
You crying in front of her, man?
Yeah, if it need to be. Cause sometimes, bro, I can't hold my emotions.
I'm crying in the car. You ain't gonna see the tear. I'm crying in the car.
Sometimes I'm gonna tell you my example. My grandma, man. Rest in peace, man. I love her. That was like my mom. You know what I'm saying? Like she raised me. I was trying so hard to hold it in through the funeral. I mean, I was trying. Look, and we get to the shoot. I was 26. I think I was like 26. She passed like 4 years ago. So 26, 27. And I mean, I was holding it together, smiling. But it's something about when they start playing the music, and then it was almost time to go see the body, bro. I broke down, man. Done. And I was trying, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes I didn't want to be vulnerable. See, that's me. I don't want to be vulnerable in front of people. Right. You know what I'm saying? But sometimes
you gonna feel what you feel, man.
Sometimes, bro, you just can't hold it in.
Right.
When you just overcome with emotion. I did not want to cry in front of nobody. Right. You know what I'm saying? I definitely felt that way, but it just got built up to the point, man. Like I love her and I miss her, man. I still cry for her to this day. You know what I'm saying? But like you say, I do it in private because now it's to the point, and it's not even a crying. It's not even a crying of like sadness. It's just a crying of like, yo, I got so much greatness and I wanted her to be here to see it because this was for her. You know what I'm saying? Right. Part of this was for her.
That makes sense.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, but I keep that part private. You know what I'm saying? So when it comes to like crying and showing emotion, I think if you just overdoing it, you know what I'm saying? Like, yo, like
I see what you're saying.
if you breaking up with me, why are you doing that? Right. You know what I'm saying? Or like, yo, like I don't know how I feel about you. You crying over the little smallest stuff. Yeah. No. Yeah. But when it come to something serious, like a loved one passing, bro.
Something serious to you.
It depends on how you want to handle it. Cause I do prefer to cry in private. I don't want to cry in front of nobody. But sometimes, man, the emotion just get moved so much.
Catching me no tears, man.
Bruh.
Man, if I did, you ain't gonna know about it. I got it together.
I want to say two things. One, I'm not afraid to be who I am. So if I'm gonna cry, I'm gonna cry. Two, this is why I tell my guys and I work with my guys to get in control of your emotions. When you're in control of your emotions, you have less to cry about. You're able to process it.
Yeah.
When you try to act as if you don't have emotion, that's when, again, it just builds up. And the more it builds up, the harder it is to control.
Right. I was balling at it because I cried 2 times. when I found out, I remember I was coming back from North Carolina. This when I was with my ex-wife. My mom called me and was like, "Yeah, Paul, you know, when you get in, just come straight to the house, okay?" I was like, "Oh, what's going on?"
Facing the situation,
and then,
I
still won't really processing it. But when I got in there and I seen all the family in one room,
something bad happened. Something bad happened.
So they told me I didn't cry. The only 2 times I cried when I seen when we seen her body before the funeral.
Yeah.
Cause that's when it set in that it was real. And then at the funeral, right before, and I mean, I could not stop crying, bruh. Cause it's like you said, like I don't think I didn't even take. And so if you gonna cry in private, take that time out to do it. You know what I'm saying? And process that emotion. Cause I never did it. You know what I'm saying? So it was just the fact that like I was running from it for so long that like. It hit me like a ton of bricks that like, yo, my best friend gone.
So this is the only time you think that you should be vulnerable? This is the only time when like a family member go down?
When the only time that she should cry?
Like be vulnerable. I guess we everything goes into the vulnerable part.
No, you can be more vulnerable. You can be vulnerable.
And we specifically in a relationship.
Yeah. You can be vulnerable in a relationship, and being vulnerable doesn't mean being sad.
Yeah.
Being vulnerable doesn't mean being sad. Like I said, being vulnerable to me means being open. You know what I mean? And you're not running away from emotions, circumstances, foreshadowing events. Like if you came up short on your bill, you might be, the bill might be coming up.
No, don't do it.
Don't do it.
Don't do it. Don't tell her.
Don't tell her. What I'm saying is, that's something that you can.
I want to say, how would you handle it, eh?
Don't tell her. I'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'll give it a fine line. Okay, it would really. I don't see myself going that way, but and I'm not Superman, so it could happen. I ain't gonna say impossible that this will never happen. That's stupid. But the only way you would go to that point, it really had to be dire. It would have to go to a point where like tomorrow the sheriff is coming to kick us out the house. It would have to be like so serious. Like it would have to. Like it really would. If not, then I'd be like, yo, then I'll figure it out. If I got 30 days, I'm gonna figure it out.
Yeah.
But if it's like a week before and it's like really like I got the note on the door. If y'all had this in 48 hours, you out on the street, then it would have to be really dire. So I don't want to say impossible, it would never happen. But yeah, I would have to be vulnerable and be like, baby, I messed up.
And you saying like if y'all like living together, y'all
it would have to be that serious. But if you boyfriend or girl, no.
Yeah, okay.
Never tell her that. No, I'm talking about if y'all have kids, y'all are married, y'all have bank accounts, it has to be really together, and then it really had to go to that point. So no. It would have to. I couldn't. You can't hold that kind of. It's a secret. That's going to problems in the marriage.
That's what I was about to open up.
That's what I was about to
open up in. You have to be vulnerable and open with your partner when it comes to that level. But if y'all don't live together and stuff like that, what's your problems is your problems.
Yeah, you vulnerable.
Right?
No,
But your problems are your problems. Like you're not gonna go like, can you give me some money?
Yeah, you done.
Yeah, like
just know that she lost all the respect right there. You lost the game. It's done. Cause it goes to that point where you tell too much. I'm glad we get into this because if you tell too much, they use it against you.
Yeah.
She help you out for that $50 or $100 to help you on that phone bill or that rent or whatever you need help with, and y'all just dating. Oh shoot! Let a month go by, y'all have an argument. Oh, that's why you couldn't afford that. Oh, you lost, bro. She gonna use it against you. Yeah. She definitely gonna use it against you, bro. There's no way she not. You can't be too vulnerable, bro.
Speaking on the money and everything, man, it's just crazy because we as guys, we try to open up, and if you open up and be vulnerable about your financial situation or whatever like that, I think what it is that they might not turn it and use it against you, but it's like, hey, it's a constant reminder saying like, yeah, you remember I helped you with that $50 back in the day. Look where we at now.
They don't let
you know
that
what
go.
I'm saying? Like,
$50, dang.
Yeah, you're like, yo, I'm telling you. Or like let's say they gave you the $50 or whatever, and then y'all together, and then you be like, you know what, we can't, let's try to control the budget. But I did this for you back then. You know what I'm saying? Like they bring it up. So that's why
you can't be too vulnerable.
You gotta be just be careful. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Just be careful, pick and choose. And my thing when it comes to the vulnerability, like I said earlier, if you don't want it out, don't say it. You know what I'm saying? Because you can't, once you tell somebody else, you can't control who they tell or what they say.
It's already out there.
It's out there, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So that's just something, that's a rule of thumb for me.
Me, I just take it head on, but I'm the mindset piece. I'm like strong in that realm. So what I put out there, I'm open to the criticism, even if it's personal, because, you know, that's where the person who is upset with you usually is the one who's gonna tell the most truth.
Oh, say it again. That was a good one.
The person that's upset with you is usually gonna tell the most truth. I ain't gonna lie, and this is alright.
It's a man's channel. Hey, anybody else watching, it's your fault.
If I want somebody to give me their honest opinion, I would prick at them and make them a little bit mad. Because once they get to that, once they get to that level, it's like, I'm gonna let you have it. And I'd be like, thank you.
You get up
Tell you how you really feel.
Yeah. That was some game.
Tell me how you really feel.
Yeah.
Instead of trying to shelter my feelings and whatever, tell me how you really feel. I'll push you to that point if I need to. Now, use that wisely and carefully. But so I've allowed myself, and we've all had to learn. The reason why we brought this topic up, all right, is because we've all had to learn these things the hard way. We haven't had this discussion. This is something that men don't talk about, and we've all been there. Felt the backlash from being vulnerable or too vulnerable or vulnerable with the wrong person, and then we just like, fuck being vulnerable altogether. That's not it.
No.
You know what I mean? Because then you start to feel that way towards yourself. You start to hold that towards yourself as well. Like you don't even want to be open with yourself. That's when you start to repress feelings and you're not in control anymore. So allow yourself to be vulnerable, fellas. Know your person that you're being vulnerable with. You're gonna have to put it into play and test it to see where your partner is and what they can withstand. You don't want to be too vulnerable. Don't cross that line because you're still a man. You still got to handle stuff, and they still got to respect you as a man. So we're not telling you to be a crybaby, all right? And like you said, if you need to cry, you can do it in private. Me, I don't care if it's something that I'm gonna cry about, but that's because I'm furthermore inclined and in control. So if I'm to the point where I'm going to cry, I haven't cried in a long time either, and I usually cry when it comes to like the death of a loved one, when it's something drastic. But so for me, if I'm to that point, then I don't care. I'm at home. I'm at peace. I can be vulnerable there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So in conclusion, should men be vulnerable
in a relationship?
In a relationship, I can't say with just women. Everybody's different. In a relationship, should you be vulnerable in a relationship? I'm gonna say yes and no. I'm gonna stick on to my principles. I'm staying on
28.
I say about 20%. Give about 20% of that vulnerability and keep that 80 on me. That's what I feel, man. What you think?
I think you definitely should be vulnerable, but it is a balance. But you got to test it to see what your percentage is.
Okay.
Hey,
smart.
look, I say yes. It's just all in how you do it. And my biggest thing, once again, if you don't want something out, don't say it.
He said that's the third time you said it.
I'm telling people, man, and this is just a good principle to live by when it comes to dealing with people. If you don't want something out, don't say it. And work on it yourself, you know.
Definitely.
That's it. But yes, you should be vulnerable in your relationship.
Because you got to be open.
Yeah.
You heard it here, man.
Yep.
I'll see y'all in the next one, man.
All right,
Make
peace.
sure y'all like, comment, let us know how y'all feel about this topic, man.
All right.
Bottom. Y'all be good.
Peace.